The teachings of Rabbi Rav Sprecher, Dean of Students at Diaspora Yeshiva on Mount Zion, Jerusalem.
Good afternoon. It's amazing how the Haftorah and the Parsha of the week always speak to current events. The Haftorah we're going to read this Shabbos from the book of Yirmiyahu. This week, Holocaust Memorial Day took place. So is it a coincidence that 50 world leaders came to honor the memory of the Holocaust? And it's amazing that Yirmiyahu Hanavi, almost 2,600 years ago, says in this week's Haftorah, Ata, you, Altira Avdi Yaakov, do not be afraid, my servant Yaakov, Neum Hashem, says God, Ki itcha ani, because I am with you. Ki eshe kol b'chol hagoyim, I will make an end of all the nations that persecuted you. I will make an end of them. They will be extinct. But you will never become what? Extinct. So all of our enemies that tried to destroy us are all gone. Yirmiyahu says the same week that we celebrated Zikaron Yom HaShoah, the prophet says, don't be afraid. All of your enemies that will try to destroy you, they will be destroyed. But you, despite suffering terribly, you will never be destroyed. You are an eternal people. And this is the Haftorah. It just happened this week, was the international Yom HaShoah Zikaron. And this Haftorah is always read the week when we celebrate Yom HaShoah. Avi, Koinki Dinky?
What's the dream of Jeremiah?
Yeah, Jeremiah was a prophet. Jeremiah 46, verse 28. Right? Parshat Bo. Now we'll see amazing current events in Parshat Bo. Now, Bo el Paro. He should have said Lech el Paro. God says to Moshe, come to Paro. He should have said Lech el Paro. Why Bo? Raphael, come together right now. Because you never go alone. Bo el Paro, not Lech, Daniel, right? A Jew never goes alone. Wherever he is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes along with him, and therefore it says Bo and not Lech. Also, how many makkos are in Parshas Bo? 3. Bo is Gematria? 3. So therefore it's Bo and not Lech, Daniel. Beis Aleph is Gematria 3. There are 3 makkos left. 7 down, 3 to go. Alfie, which are the 3 to go? Arbe, locust, darkness, and the slaying of the firstborn. We'll talk about that, okay?
Thank you.
And what it means for us. We'll see current events, how it ties in with the parsha. Okay. So it says darkness. No man saw his brother. No man saw his brother. What does that mean? It could just say it was dark. How dark was it? No man saw his brother. So the Chadush Harim says something amazing. Because no man saw his brother, therefore it was so dark. The Mitzrim couldn't care about each other. They were not interested in each other. Since no man saw his brother, therefore they were enshrouded in what? In darkness. But it says, L'chol b'nei Yisrael, as far as the Jewish people, there was light. Why was there light? Because the Jews did care for each other. So if you care for your fellow human being, you have light. If you don't care, like the Mitzrim didn't care, then they were enshrouded not just in physical darkness, but in spiritual darkness as well. So the Jewish people, Memtesh Shari Tuma. What level of Tuma were the Mitzrim? If the Jewish people were Memtesh Shari Tuma, what were the Mitzrim? Maybe 9,000, what? They broke the I think they broke the thermometer, right? They broke the thermometer. Very interesting. So the first mitzvah in the parsha, Chodesh Hazeh Lechem. The power of what? The first mitzvah, Chodesh Hazeh Lechem. It's just amazing again that the parsha of the week always speaks to current events. I couldn't make this up. Rashi in the Genesis 1:1 asks, the Torah should have began with the Parshat Kiddush HaChodesh. It's the first mitzvah given to the Jewish people, is sanctification of the new moon. So why begin with Bereshis? So Rashi says, Koach Masav Higil Amo. If the United Nations say, Alfie, we are occupiers, and we stole PLO land, we're supposed to point to Bereshis. Bereshis is our deed to Eretz Yisrael, where God over and over again promises the land of Israel to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So therefore, it begins with Bereshis to teach the world we're not occupying anybody's land. It belongs to Israel. If you don't believe it, read Genesis. The whole book of Genesis is what God keeps promising over and over again, the land of Israel to Am Yisrael, and therefore we're not occupying anybody. So Rav Sprecher explains, yes, the Torah is a book of mitzvahs, but before the Torah can command you to do a mitzvah, Alfie, has to give you the venue. Where are mitzvahs made to be kept?
In Israel.
In Eretz Yisrael, not in Lakewood, not even in Borough Park. Isn't that amazing insight? Yes, the Torah is a book of mitzvahs, but before the Torah can command you to do a mitzvah, it has to give you the address. Where mitzvah is meant to be done. And that address is found where? In Genesis. Which over and over again, the promised land. Once you know the address, now you can get a mitzvah. So why is Kiddush HaChodesh the first mitzvah? Why not Shabbat? Why not Yom Kippur? What's so important about Kiddush HaChodesh that it's the first mitzvah given to us as a nation? Chodesh from the word Chidush. What does Chidush mean? Rejuvenate. Without the power to rejuvenate, we're not going anywhere. We were stuck in Memtesh Sharei Tumah. So the Koach HaChidush, that the Jewish people have this incredible midah of rejuvenation, of renewal. No other nation has that. Alfie, who comes back after 2,000 years? Who comes back and resurrects a dead language? Nobody comes back after 2,000 years. Forget about it. But that's the Koach HaChidush. HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem, Raphael. We got the Koach to renew ourselves. 3 years after the Holocaust, a third of our people were destroyed. 3 years later, we come back and build the jewel of the Middle East. It's not normal. The startup nation, the leader in everything. 3 years after the Holocaust? Hello? That's why it's the first mitzvah. Without the koyach to renew or rejuvenate ourselves, we would wind up like the Phoenicians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, and the Romans. That's why we're so hated, because we keep rejuvenating ourselves. That's the koyach of Rosh Chodesh, the koyach of Chidush. There's an amazing pasuk in Hosea. Kinar Yisrael. God calls us youth Israel. We are youth. I don't know about you, I'm not a youth. The Jewish people are an ancient people, 3,800 years old. Why does God call us in Hosea Nar Yisrael? What does Nar mean? A youth.
Teenager.
Because we have this koyach to rejuvenate ourselves, to renew ourselves. And therefore the Exodus took place in the month of Nisan, the month of renewal. When you see nature renew itself and rejuvenate, that's a siman that we have to do. Nar Yisrael, God calls us, you youth, Israel. Huh? Isn't that amazing? Nar Yisrael. We are eternally young. We keep rejuvenating, renewing ourselves, and that is the koyach of chidush. And therefore it had to be the first mitzvah, because without that mitzvah, we're kaput, chas v'sholom. Never get out of Cairo. Never come back after 2,000 years and rebuild this wonderful country, resurrect a dead language. That's the koyach of Rosh Chodesh, of Chidush, HaChodesh. HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. This month shall be for you, Rosh Chodashim, Rishon Lochem L'Chodshei Hashana. The word Chodesh is written 3 times in the verse. Exodus 12:2. The word Chodesh, Chodashim, Chodshei, it's all the same root. Why write the word renewal 3 times? I get the picture. I got to renew myself. The moon, right? Unlike the blue moon. The moon keeps renewing. The moon is covered in blackness. It looks like it disappears.
Then it comes.
Kaput, Auschwitz, Treblinka, all black. and all of a sudden, what? We come back again. We're the great comeback kid. The Lavuna, Lavan. We shine again, despite being shrouded and covered in blackness. We keep coming back. That's the koyach of Rosh Chodesh Chidush. Therefore, we follow a lunar calendar, not a solar calendar. But why is the word Chodesh written 3 times? So the Kabbalists tell us that there's a 3-way relationship that we have in this world between man and God, between what? Man and man, and between man and himself. So every Rosh Chodesh you have to take stock, David, to rejuvenate and renew our relationship between us and Hashem, our relationship between us and our fellow man, and our relationship with ourselves. If you don't like yourself, then how could you like somebody else? You got to learn to appreciate yourself and renew yourself. Otherwise, you can't be there for somebody else. Therefore, in Judaism, Chayecha koidmin, l'chayecha vercha. Avi, your life comes first. You got to look out for number 1, because if you don't like yourself and renew yourself, how can you renew your relationship with somebody else or with God? It has to begin, Chava. Tikkun Olam begins with the guy in the mirror or the lady in the mirror. Tikkun Olam, right? Very interesting. Chodesh, Chidush. So there, it's the first mitzvah given to us to as a nation. As a nation. Now, Pesach, we ask 4 questions. Alfie, we forgot the most important question, the 5th one. They tried to kill us, we won. When do we eat?
When do we eat?
Moshe, didn't forget that. I think that's the 5th question. They tried to kill us, we won. When do we eat? Very interesting. When do we eat? If you get that question, what? Very interesting. What? Now, you see the movie The 10 Commandments? The book is better. The book is much better. In fact, the book is so good, I literally worship the author. You cannot trust the movie. I remember the movie, they were smearing the blood on the outside of the house. Remember that? I remember that.
Yeah.
But the Torah says no. They had to smear the blood inside of the house. Alfie, you can't trust the movie. The book is always better. So why smear the blood on the inside of the house? Get my walls dirty. We're leaving the next day anyway. So what does it matter? But why get your house? Doesn't God know? Maddie, we know where you live. God says the blood is for you a sign. It ain't for me. I know where you live. So therefore, smear the blood on the inside of your house. So why do that? What do you mean for us it's a sign? Fasten your seatbelts. When was the first time in human history that God commanded a human being to eat the sacrifice? Now, Noach brought korbanot. Cain and Hevel brought korbanot. Ava Yitzchak and Yaakov brought korbanot. Would anyone dare to eat a korban? Rav Nachum, sacrilege. Sacrilege. Korban, all the korbanos until Yitzias Mitzrayim was only a korban olah. The first time in human history that God commanded a human being to eat the korban was Pesach night. It's a revolution. Eat the korban. Korban belongs to God. Says the Maral Miprad. Why did God command us to smear the walls of our house with blood? What do you do with a korban? Normally, what did you do with a korban? You shechted it. The animal was burned completely on the Mizbeach, and the blood was smeared on the walls of the Mizbeach. On Pesach night, God created a nation where the people and the house, they became a living Mizbeach. Instead of burning the animal on the altar and smearing the blood on the altar, your mouth and your home becomes what? An altar. When we ate the korban, we became a living Mizbeach. Instead of burning it on the altar, we eat it. Instead of smearing it on the walls of the Mizbeach, we smear it on the walls of what? Of our home. Turning ourselves and our homes into a Mizbeach. What a revolutionary idea, which was created when, Raphael? Pesach night. Isn't that an incredible idea? Every Jewish home became a Mizbeach. All of us became Kohanim. Eating a korban? It's amazing Gemara in the Masechta Zvachim. You should know this better than me, Raphael. You're a Kohen. A person brought a sin offering and a guilt offering. A certain section, the fat, the blood, and the kishkis were burned what? On the Mizbeach. The blood was smeared, and fat and the blood were burned. And the steak was eaten by what? By the Kahanim. When did the sinner Chava get a kapara? He brought a sinner a guilt offering. So I would think when the fat, the blood, and the kishkis went on the Mizbeach. No, says the Gemara in Zvachim, Kohanim ochlim umbalim ischaprim. Only when Mr. Cohen ate the steak. Only then did Mr. Sinner get what? A kapara. Are you getting this? The Cohen's mouth and stomach, David, became a living Mizbeach. And on Pesach night, we're all virtual Kohanim. Therefore, we all wear the white kittel. Our Seder is a Mizbeach. Our home becomes a virtual Mizbeach on Seder night. Isn't that incredible? Only when the Kohen ate the korban did Mr. Sinner get what? Kapara. Not when the kishkis were burning and the fat on the altar. What an idea, huh, Moshe? Yeah. So I hope the Kohen was not a vegetarian. I hope not, because then Danish, Mr. Sinner got a big problem. Right? Yes, you had a question?
Yes, Rabbi. Did they eat there at Temple Mount area?
What do you mean?
Is that when they would eat the korban?
The korban had to be eaten in the city of Jerusalem. So anywhere in the old city.
Wow, so they would sit around at tables in the old
Right, in the old city, that's right. In the Rova Yehudi. It was a miracle, millions of Jews. Yeah. It was a miracle. It's just a miracle. You know, no one said that it's tight for me. Yeah. That's what Jeremiah calls Israel Eretz Tzvi. Wow. What does Eretz Tzvi mean? The land of the deer, because deer skin, you can stretch it and stretch it and stretch it and stretch it to accommodate everybody.
But how? But then wasn't the whole city the Rova?
That's right. In those days,
the whole city.
That's right. Yep. That's right.
Shar Yafo,
as long as you could see the Temple Mount, that's called Jerusalem. As long as you can see the Temple Mount, that's right, that's all Jerusalem. Now, why did God command us, Bill, to take a sheep? A turkey has much less cholesterol. You agree, right? Why take dafka sheep? If you look at what? If you look in Yecheskel, the Jewish people, not just the Egyptians, the Jewish people were addicted to the worship of the zodiac, of the sign of the Lamb. Wasn't just, look at Ezekiel 20. The Jewish people, you know, they like to keep up with the Mitzrim, keep up with the Jonah. They worship the Lamb. So therefore, Maimonides explains that in Judaism, the way you break it is the way you what? Fix it. We worship the Lamb. Now take a lamb and do it my way. Da-da-da-da. That's why not a turkey. Right? We worship the lamb. The terrible sin. In Yahadut, the tikkun comes from the chet. How do you say that in English, Yuda? The tikkun comes from the chet. The repair comes from the sin itself. The remedy comes from the illness. I think it's called a vaccine, no? Something like that. Immunization. So Maimonides explains according to Yecheskel, since we worship the Lamb, so therefore we take the object of our sin, Alfie, and we turn it into a win, and therefore the Korban Pesach is dafka lamb and not a toiki. Not a toiki. Even though a toiki has much less cholesterol. Pretty amazing, right? An amazing, Rashi is so profound. The Chofetz Chaim said it's a shame we begin learning Rashi when we're, how old? We should begin learning Rashi when we're 70. Because Rashi is so profound. Moshe, Chaval, you don't have a Chumash, but please go and get home, look it up. In Shemot 13, Pasuk 4, God says, today you're leaving Egypt in the month of springtime. So Rashi says, wait a minute, Chanoch, there ain't no extra words in the Torah. I have a calendar. I know I left Egypt when? Springtime. Look out the window. So what did the Torah have to say? Hey, guys, you left springtime. So Rashi quotes Chazal, God is telling you, don't we know when we left? Everybody has a calendar. God is telling us, look how much chesed I'm doing for you. Not just I'm orchestrating the Exodus. I could have taken you out in January and February or in August. I'm taking you out in the perfect month, Nisan. It's beautiful marching weather. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. There's no rain. Perfect weather. Appreciate it. You know what Rashi's saying? Please fasten your seatbelts. We appreciate the exodus from Egypt, supernatural. Hashem is telling us, when you're having a nice day, it's a miracle like the exodus. You hear what I said? That's what Rashi's saying. If you really read into it, gold, if you look into it. God's like, look at the chesed I did. Not the chesed of the exodus. That's for sure. I'm giving you a nice day. A good month. That's just a chesed, God says, like the Exodus itself. So what is God teaching me? You don't be grateful not just for the supernatural razzle-dazzle, big-ticket items, but when you're having a good day, it's a miracle like, that's what Yahadus teaches. Isn't that amazing? How to sensitize ourselves, Alfie, you're having a good day. Hashem, thank you, it's an Exodus. We don't look at it that way. We take it for granted. Torah is saying, don't. Focus on a nice day. Chodesh Aviv. Could have been raining and stormy, but I waited to give you a nice day. And God said it's a chesed that you should appreciate, just like you appreciate what? The Exodus, which is razzle-dazzle, yes?
So what is it when it's cold and freezing here?
No. That's to make you appreciate, but it's not cold and freezing. Oh. Why did God create darkness? But how could you appreciate the light, Alfie, if you don't know what darkness is? The Navi says this, Hosea. If I wouldn't have sat in darkness, I couldn't appreciate light. So God gives us rainy, cold days, so we should be able to appreciate what? Tel Aviv. Eilat. Right?
Just as nice as
right? That's a pretty amazing message, don't you think? Huh? Pretty amazing, right? Uh-huh. Wow. Yeah. Now the Korban Pesach has to be eaten in the home. You cannot take it out of the house. Why? Why can't you eat the lamb chop outside? What does God care? Remember we said on Pesach night we're all virtual Kohanim. And our homes are what? A virtual Mizbeach. The din is in the Korban Pesach, you can't take kachim out of the Mikdash. You can't take sacrificial meat out of the Mikdash. On Pesach night, our home, Alfie, becomes a virtual Mikdash. Therefore, the Torah says, don't take the lamb chop out of the house. Isn't that an amazing idea, David? My home becomes a virtual Mikdash on Pesach night. Therefore, I'm wearing white. In the Mikdash, you can't take kachim out from the Mikdash. It becomes what? Pasul. So the Korban Pesach has to be eaten in my virtual Mikdash, which is what? Danish, which is what? Moshe. My home becomes a Mikdash, therefore you can't take it out. The sanctuary, the temple, the Mikdash is the temple. You can't take holy sacrificial meat outside of the temple. Mikdash is the temple. Huh?
Where did they roast it? In the house?
No, they roasted it. Everyone had in Jerusalem had to be roasted in Jerusalem. They shechted it.
Yeah, but
They roasted it on the Temple
They,
Mount. and
not just the Temple Mount. Everybody took it wherever in their own backyard, but they had to eat it. They had to eat it in each one's home,
Oh, is that what he said?
right?
Okay.
So that is the symbolism of what of the Korban Pesach. The symbolism of what of the Korban Pesach. And the Torah calls the month of Nisan Aviv. Aviv. The Zohar says Aviv is an acronym Av Yud Bet. Aviv, acronym NYPD. Av Yud Bet, the father of the 12 tribes. So the Zohar explains until Nisan, God was the Boreh, creator. Nisan, we gave God a new title. The Papa. On Nisan, he became Aviv. What is Aviv? An acronym? Av Yud Bet, the father of the 12 tribes. That took place in the month of Nisan, and we made God the proud Papa, and therefore the month of Nisan is called Aviv, the father of the 12 tribes, and that took place in the month of Nisan. The end of the parsha is the mitzvah of what of Pidyon Haben. What's Pidyon Haben, Chava? Pidyon Haben. How do you say it in English? Redeeming the firstborn. If you have a firstborn baby boy, after 30 days, what do you do, Moshe? You redeem him from the Kohen, and you make a big party. What's it all about? Let's think. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, the B'chorim really belong to me. Because when I whacked the firstborn Mitzrim, I spared your B'chorim. Right? So therefore, show gratitude, appreciation. Therefore, redeem your firstborn son from what? From the Kohen. Because God said, the Jewish B'chorim really belong to me because I spared them. So they're really mine. They should really be what? Serving in the Mikdash. But I'll do you a favor, I'll allow you to redeem him by going to Raphael and redeeming him. So what are you making a big party for? It's a tragedy. I'm a Bechor. I should have been a Kohen in the Beis HaMikdash. My father redeemed me, now I'm just a plain, ordinary Ephraim. So why did my parents make a big party, David? Moshe, you hear my question? Rabbi Bachai asked this question. The answer will floor you. But think about the question. What are you celebrating? It's an Nebuch. Yeah. God said, the Bechor really belongs to me. What do you mean belongs to me? You guys should dedicate your whole life to the Mikdash. But I'll let you buy him out from Mr. Raphael, Mr. Cohen. Close but no cigar. So what am I celebrating? I could have been a contender. Who said that, Yehuda? I could have been a contender. Who said that?
It was in the movie.
Marlon Brando.
On the waterfront.
Yeah. Right? I could have been a Cohen, but I'm not. So why is my parents making a big party for? You know, they put the baby in a tray and they put all, flowers and sugar, and they make a big party. What are you celebrating? You want the answer, Rabbeinu B'chai? I wouldn't dare say this on my own. Dave, do you get the question? Are you a B'chor?
Yeah.
Your father made a big party, right? With the Cohen. You don't remember. You were 30 days old. But he did. Okay. Rabbeinu B'chai says something amazing. What the party is all about. I would have been a Cohen. I could have been. My whole life would be what? In the Beis HaMikdash. In the Beis HaMikdash, right? But now I'm not in the Beis HaMikdash. Now I'm out there in the real world. I have the opportunity to sanctify even the mundane. That's the party. If I was a Kohen, my whole life would be spent, what's the word, Moshe, cloistered? In the temple precincts. But now that I'm not a Kohen, I can go out into the real world and I can elevate and sanctify even the most mundane aspects of life. That's something to celebrate.
Make a difference.
You can make a difference. Moshe, I think it's an amazing chiddush. I mean, put this in your pipe and smoke it. Beinu Bachya. Some say bechai. Some say tomato. Some say tomato. Some call him Beinu Bachya. Some Beinu Bachai. Alfie, you hear this? The Kohen, all his life is surrounded with Kedusha. That's great. But there's even a higher calling. When you go out into the real world and you mingle with the people that are not so holy, and you got a chance to reach out and touch somebody, which you couldn't do as a Kohen. A Kohen can't touch somebody that's Tameh. Kohen had to keep to himself, because if he touches somebody who's Tameh, he's Tameh. But since I'm not a Kohen, I can touch everybody more than one way, Raphael. I can touch somebody's life, not just physically, but when I hug him, I can change his life. I can sanctify and elevate the most mundane, secular aspects of life. That's something to make a party about. Isn't that incredible? That's Yahadut. That's Judaism. Sunday at 2 p.m. we have a shiur. It's called Why Punish Paroi for Carrying Out God's Orders? 400 years before Paroi, God commanded Abraham, the Jewish people are going to have to be enslaved. Pharaoh was just following orders. Why whack him? Get it, Alfie? Following orders? So that's Sunday at 2.
For more of Rabbi Sprecher's teachings, visit rabbisprecher.com.